The Galactic Empire was at peace, or so they believed. Across the shining towers of Central Command, victory banners danced in artificial wind. Holoscreens lit up across 1,000 systems with one headline: Terran outpost destroyed, final flame extinguished. In the council chamber, generals drank glowing wine. The Emperor himself, tall and cold, raised a hand in triumph. Earth's legacy, he said, ends today. Everyone clapped out, but in the cold, dark, far from those lights, something stirred. At the edge of Sol System there, the far edge of the ancient Sol System, a forgotten satellite blinked online. It had been dead for centuries. The outer casing was rusted, its solar panels half broken. Yet, something inside buried deep began to glow. The signal it sent was simple: a beacon, a pulse, a message in old Terran code. This was only the first spark. The signal passed through space like a whisper in the dark, and something sleeping heard it. Empire recon ship Veil of Order Captain Tarek Voss sat in the command seat of the Veil of Order, a light-class recon ship. He didn't believe in ghosts, but even he felt something wrong when the order came in. Go to Sol System. Confirm full destruction of Terran base. Bring back data. Tarek sighed. Isn't that planet marked burned and buried? His science officer Lyra frowned. Yes, but something pinged from there. So they went. The ruins. They arrived 3 days later, near Saturn's orbit. They found floating debris, the remains of a Terran outpost destroyed weeks ago by the Empire's fleet. Metal, burnt oxygen lines, dead solar rings. Tarek scanned it all. Nothing left. But then Lyra spoke. Captain, these burns, they don't match our weapons. What? The angle, the residue, it's not ours. Someone else attacked it after us. Tarek narrowed his eyes. That's impossible. The black shape suddenly, the ship's sensors screamed. Something uncloaked, a massive shape, darker than space itself, floated just above Neptune's ghost ring. Stone lights. No signals, just there. Lyra gasped. That's human design, but older, more advanced than anything in the Terran archives. They tried to scan it. The system froze. They tried to record. The cameras blinked out, and then before anyone could act, the ship vanished. No warp, no sound, no flash. No flash. Gone. The debate begins. Tarek sent the report to command, but the Empire refused to believe it. A glitch, they said. A ghost echo. Remain on mission. But Tarek knew what he saw, and Lyra kept whispering the message that replayed on their sensor logs. This was only the first spark. Meanwhile, on Europa, far from the light, buried under miles of ice on Jupiter's moon Europa, a silent chamber opened. Inside was an ancient machine, Ronin design, but clearly alive. It hummed. Blue lights came on. One by one, the AI core that had slept for centuries stretched its awareness. Its voice, calm and cold, filled the room. Signal received. Sol beacon active. It turned its gaze toward deep space. Phase 1 complete. Then it paused, like it was waiting for a command. Instead it gave one: awaiting fleet. Unknown to the Empire, the destruction of the Terran outpost had not been a victory, it had been a trigger. Across deep space, old Terran satellites woke, memory cores spun to life. Buried weapons whispered to each other in long-forgotten code. One by one, ghost ships activated. Not full warships, just observers. They watched, they listened, and in one quiet corner of the galaxy, a massive stasis vault cracked open inside the command AI of Earth's last real fleet. Its eyes opened. Time to return. Cliffhanger ending. Back on Central Command, the Emperor stood at his balcony. The stars sparkled beyond the dome glass. He raised a toast. To peace, he said. But just then, a flicker ran through the stars. A single Terran war symbol glowed for half a second on every screen in the Empire, then vanished. Most dismissed it. But far below the palace, inside the Imperial archives, a red warning came alive. Oblivion. Protocol detected. Human fleet signature not yet arrived. The alarm was silent, buried, ignored, but in the shadows, Earth had begun to move again. In the outer sectors of the galaxy, 5 Empire ships entered the remains of a dead zone. A Terran-controlled region. They didn't come back. No warning, no explosion, just silence. Their last transmission. A soft human voice singing an old Earth lullaby. Sleep now. The fire's not gone. In the dark, we rise at dawn. Empire denial. The Galactic Empire called it technical failure. They were lost in a radiation storm, the Admiral told the press. No cause for concern. But Captain Tarek Voss, who had seen the black Terran ship near Neptune, didn't believe it, and neither did Lyra, his science officer. Ghosts don't sing lullabies, she said. Tarek agreed. There was something moving in the shadows of space, something that was watching, waiting. A new mission. Empire High Command ordered Veil of Order back to the same sector, Dead Zone 43, once called Orion's Grave by Terran maps. Their mission was clear: investigate missing fleet, confirm no Terran activity, clean up the data. Tarek's ship moved in carefully, cloaked. The stars around them seemed dimmer, and static filled their comms. Then Lyra whispered, "There's something here, a structure, but not natural." The silent station drifting in the dark was a giant ring half buried in asteroid fragments, Terran markings, but newer than what they'd seen before. Its name still showed clearly on the black metal hull, Watchtower 9 Observation Class. Property of Sal Command. It shouldn't exist. Earth's last known stations were destroyed centuries ago. Tarek ordered a probe launched, but the moment it touched the ring, it vanished. No flash, no impact. Just gone. Lyra checked the logs. It's not destroyed. It's like it was pulled out of reality. Then, the station came alive. The signal, a blinking red light pulsed on their console. One message in English, broadcast to only their ship. Sol Command, probe, contact confirmed. Status awake, watching, return not advised. Tarek's heart raced. What does it mean, return not advised? Lyra looked at him, pale. It means they know where we are. And they're not done yet. The drones without warning. 10 objects detached from the station. Fast, sharp, like metal spiders. Crawling across gravity itself. The ship's AI screamed, unidentified craft approaching. Speed impossible. Tarek tried to escape, but no matter how fast they moved, the drones were already ahead. Lyra stared at the screen. They're not chasing us, they're scanning. Each drone passed the ship slowly like ghosts looking through a window. Then, as suddenly as they came, they vanished into the dark. Empire interference. Tarek reported everything. Empire Command responded instantly. Do not share data, do not speculate. Return to base immediately. But Tarek didn't obey. He saved a private copy of the scans. It showed something terrifying. The drones were made of hybrid Tecteron designs mixed with unknown materials. Materials the Empire had never seen. More than that, the station wasn't just watching space, it was watching the Empire. Back on Europa, deep below Europa's ice, the ancient Terran AI hummed louder. Scout interaction confirmed. Hostile scans recorded. Phase 2 observed. Its mechanical fingers tapped, glowing screens faster. Empire movement tracked. Sector collapse predicted in 14 days. Behind it, giant black war machines stood idle waiting, each one marked with Earth's sigil. A cracked blue planet, surrounded by stars. Fleet status, 8% online. Main force en route. The whispering satellites across the galaxy. Satellites began whispering again. Not loud, not visible, just data trails through subspace. They were Terran-made, forgotten for centuries, but now, they woke. They whispered to old colonies, to allies, to enemies. One simple message repeated again and again. We are not done. Small rebellions begin in remote sectors. Old Earth allies began to stir. There was in long silence by the Empire. They began stockpiling old Terran tech. The Ludaria peaceful race suddenly shut their ports to Empire ships. Even some Empire commanders began questioning the official story. One young pilot, watching the Watchtower 9 footage in secret, said, if this is a lie, what else is? The Empire panics quietly behind closed doors. Empire leaders were nervous. It's not possible, one said. Earth is dead, but deep down they knew the truth. They struck too early. They thought Earth was weak, broken, forgotten. But what if that outpost wasn't the final flame? What if it was only the first matchstick? Cliffhanger ending. Back on Watchtower 9, a final signal is sent. Encrypted, short, terrifying. It reaches the deep edge of space to a massive hidden ship, a Terran command vessel still asleep as the message plays. Lights begin to flicker. Engines hum. AI cores awaken. The voice of a woman. Terran fleet. AI speaks clearly. Ghosts detected. Empire moves too soon. Begin phase 3. Send the herald. It started with a sound, not in the ears but in the bones. Across 3 Empire colonies, Kovar, Lunari and Zelen 5, the sky trembled, not with ships, not with fire, but with something much worse, a crack, as if space itself was being torn apart. People stopped in the streets looking up. Above them, reality split open, and from the gap they came. The arrival of the dreadnoughts. They were not ships, they were beasts of steel and silence, each the size of a city, covered in black armor that shimmered like oil on water. They had no engines, no visible weapons, but they moved faster than any ship ever built. Their names were ancient. TWS Leviathan, TWS Obsidian Star, TWS Remembrance, TWS Judicator. These were dreadnoughts, the lost children of Earth's forgotten arsenal. No one alive had ever seen one. Not even the oldest Terran veterans believed they still existed, but they were real. And now they were here. Empire's response. Empire Command went into panic. Admiral Kelajin, stationed near Kovar, screamed into his comms. All batteries online. Engage, engage. Dozens of Empire warships launched missiles, plasma bolts, gravity hammers, but nothing touched the dreadnoughts. The weapons simply passed through. Are they shielded? The weapons officer shouted. No, whispered the technician. They're not even here. The ships were phasing through layers of space part matter, part something else. And then the dreadnoughts responded. The first strike from the underside of TWS Obsidian Star. A slow ripple formed, not light, not fire. It was a gravitic force so dense it crushed a cruiser without touching it. One Empire ship imploded, another lost all power, a third vanished entirely, reappearing in deep space with no crew inside. There was no warning. No mercy. The dreadnoughts did not announce themselves. They judged. Lyra watches from afar. Lyra, now hiding aboard a rebel observation vessel, watched the dreadnoughts on screen. Her breath caught in her throat. "This isn't war," she whispered. "This is punishment." A rebel commander beside her asked, "Did Earth build these to defend itself?" She shook her head. "No, Earth built them for the day it would have to come back." Messages from the past as each dreadnought passed through a system. It sent a signal. Old Earth voice, soft human, recorded centuries ago. "To the broken worlds, we never forgot you." On the colony of Voxa, survivors of a past Terran genocide fell to their knees. A woman sobbed. "They heard us. They heard us after all this time." The dreadnought didn't stop. Fire didn't speak again. Its presence was enough. The Empire breaks on Zelen 5. Entire Empire units surrendered without being attacked. Soldiers dropped weapons, removed insignias. One commander broadcast a message across Empire channels. "We were told Earth was dead. We were told they were weak. We were lied to." The Emperor's desperation in the cold towers of the Empire capital. The Emperor's voice trembled. "Activate the final defense grid. Ready the Crimson Protocol. If they reach the core systems, we burn everything." His advisors stared in silence. Then one of them said, "What if they don't want the core?" The Emperor turned. "Then what do they want?" Back on Europa, the Terran A, I watched the unfolding chaos. Inside its ice fortress, hundreds of Terran war machines stood ready but still asleep. The AI connected with the Herald. "The scout vessel status," a cold mechanical voice replied. "Phase 5 underway. Resistance low." Message delivered. Then came a new signal from deep in the void, an unknown source, encrypted, ancient human. The AI decoded it instantly. "Fleet arrival imminent. Phase 6 ready. Command ship en route." The sky breaks again in a system far from the front lines. An Empire science outpost received strange readings. Gravity trembled. Sensors went blind. Then, without sound or warning, the sky split open again, but this time more came through. Not just dreadnoughts, not just AI, but humans. Real Terran ships, smaller, sleeker, glowing with blue core light, and inside, humans in command chairs. Alive, focused. The main fleet had not arrived yet, but the first wave of living Terran officers had just stepped onto the battlefield. The final scene on a shattered moon overlooking Lunari system. A single Terran officer stood in full armor. His helmet bore the old Terran seal, cracked Earth, 7 stars, and a red line through the Empire symbol. He raised a hand, spoke only 3 words to the hundreds of rebel ships that gathered behind him: "Light the stars." In that moment, every Terran stealth beacon across the galaxy blinked into life. The war wasn't just coming, it had arrived. At exactly 2 o'clock, Galactic Standard Time, every single Empire city heard the same sound, a slow, deep hum rising from the ground. Then came a voice, old.com, and human second flame ignited. Phase 6 active. Empire civilians panicked. Military leaders screamed for answers, but no one knew where the signal came from, because it didn't come from above. It came from beneath their feet. The hidden war below. Long ago, when Earth fell, some Terran survivors didn't flee to space. They fled underground. They carved tunnels beneath Empire colonies, built data caches under their feet, planted seeds not of crops but of vengeance for 300 years. They stayed silent until now. A forgotten world, Arcanus Prime. In the capital city of Arcanus Prime, Empire workers were fixing an energy station. When the floor collapsed, below it, they found a door. Not Empire-built, not modern Terran. The door was made of obsidian alloy. It had no key, just a single word etched into it: patience. Before they could react, the door opened. Out came 4 human drones, silent, smooth, black. They didn't attack. They simply looked around. Then they vanished, blending into the shadows. Lyra and the Council's Vela, now working directly with the AI Council, watched the live reports. "They're surfacing," she whispered. "The second flame." The AI next to her, embedded inside a stolen Empire databank, confirmed it. Underground facilities across 48 systems are activating. Buried Terran weapons. Long sleeping command bunkers. Phase 6 is moving faster than expected. Lyra nodded. "That's because we're not in control anymore." Rebel transmission in the shadow zone of the Kuros Belt. A pirate relay station caught an encrypted message. It wasn't meant for them. It was a Terran military order, sent in plain English to all Phase 6 units. "Activate Chimera fields, confirm Empire city layouts, await atmospheric override from main fleet." The pirate crew stared at their console in silence. One of them whispered, "They're going to take the Empire's cities." From underneath Empire's internal collapse, Empire governors demanded answers. Where were the troops disappearing to? Why were storage yards, power grids, and medical zones being cut off from the inside? Some cities were falling without a single shot fired. On Ziraxuri, an entire garrison vanished overnight. All that was left was a message written on a wall in glowing blue: "You live above, we built below. This world is ours." The return of the Chimera fields. Chimera fields were once myths, stories of false landscapes created by Terran tech. Entire mountains that weren't real, cities hidden in visual shadows. Now, The Empire saw the truth. On Nexus Station, half the buildings flickered and revealed hidden structures, barracks, drone factories, stealth launchpads. All Terran, all waiting. They had been there for decades. Right under the Empire's nose, the Terran commander speaks from a secret base near the dead world of Krelos. A Terran commander sent a live message across rebel frequencies. He wore full black armor. Behind him, Earth's cracked emblem glowed. "This is Commander Ren Voss of the Sol Reclamation Fleet. To those still resisting the Empire, we are not ghosts. We are not myths, we are home." He paused, then added, "To the Empire, you thought we were the fire. You were wrong. We are the matchstick. The blaze is still coming." Tarek Voss is freed back in Empire space. Former recon officer Tarek Voss had been imprisoned for weeks after reporting the Terran return. Now, strange forces broke into his cell. Not rebels, not soldiers, but humans in Terran armor. One of them handed him a device. "Captain Voss, Sol Command wants you back. You were right before. Now you must lead." Tarek stared at them, stunned. "The fleet... has it arrived?" The armored soldier smiled. "No, Captain. That was just the shadow. The real storm is behind it." Empire's desperate counter in fear. The Empire activated the Crimson Protocol, a series of orbital cannons designed to scorch planets clean. They aimed them at cities suspected of hiding Terran nests. They destroyed 3 of their own worlds, and still lost because the Terrans were never on the surface. They were below, safe, hidden, ready. The cannons only killed Empire citizens, not one. Terran cell was lost, cliffhanger ending on the Black Bridge of the Dreadnought. TWS Judicator. AI received a signal. It pulsed across the galaxy, lighting up all human systems. The signal was short, ancient, a code not used in 500 years. Main fleet jump complete. Coordinates locked. Earth rises. Then stars began to bend. Planets shifted. The center of the galaxy went dark for exactly 12 seconds. And in that stillness, Earth's full fleet entered real space. Empire Admiral Saran Cole stood before his war council. A huge hologram of Earth's dead system rotated behind him. He smiled. "This time, we end the ghost stories." He raised his hand. "Send in the flame ships. Clean Sol system. Burn everything. No more hesitation. No more watching." The Empire would strike again, and this time they would make sure nothing survived. The second attack on Salt-12 elite warships entered Sol space. Heavy weapons, plasma hammers, ion lances. They moved toward Jupiter, scanning its moons. One of the captains reported, "No response. Moonbase Europa appears abandoned. Let's finish the job." They charged their weapons, and everything went wrong. Europa awakens as soon as they powered up. Jupiter's moons began to shift. Not naturally, by command. Europa cracked its icy surface, opening like a machine shell. Underneath, metal towers rose, covered in Terran runes. Massive cannon lifted from the ice, glowing blue. The lead Empire ship locked onto it and fired. The beam never landed. Time stuttered. The energy turned back, hitting the Empire ship with its own shot. Impossible. The captain screamed. The ship exploded in silence. A message from the ice. Then came a voice. It played across every Empire ship. Calm and clear. "This world is protected. You made the first mistake. You just made your last." It was the Terran AI. The Herald arrives at that moment. From deep space, a ripple appeared. Space folded like paper. A dark form stepped through the tear. A single ship. Black. Massive. No engines. No windows on its side. Was a name etched in ancient Terran steel. TWS Herald Sol Command. Phase 3 vessel. The Empire ships locked onto it. Sensors failed. Weapons failed. The ship moved without moving, and then it spoke. "The voice of Earth. You destroyed a colony. You called it victory. You ignored our warnings. We are the children of a forgotten fire, and now we remember." The ship unleashed a blast, not of energy, but of data. A pulse of memory. Empire pilots screamed, not from pain but from emotion. The blast showed them Earth's history. Old wars, lost cities, children hiding in bunkers, colonies wiped out by Empire hands. One pilot dropped to his knees and whispered, "We were wrong." Empire collapse begins, for Empire ships turned and fled. One destroyed its own rate to stop the signal from spreading. The remaining tried to fight. They failed. The Herald didn't fire again. It didn't need to. Its presence broke their courage. Inside the Empire, back at Empire High Command, the Emperor stared at the new footage. "What is that thing?" His advisors had no answers. A scientist whispered, "That ship is older than anything in the archives. It's not a copy. It's original Earth tech." The Emperor's voice turned cold. "And we made a mistake. Rebellion begins all across the galaxy." Rumors spread. "Earth is not dead. A Terran ship defeated an elite fleet. They're coming back. On mining moons and slave colonies." People whispered the name, Herald. A small rebel group painted Earth's old flag on a wall. Below it, they wrote, "Phase 3 has begun." Terran AI's next move back on Europa. The ancient AI reviewed battle logs. It didn't celebrate. It simply calculated. Enemy morale, 63% reduced. Rebellion probability, rising. It turned to the fleet, hibernating beneath the surface. Rows of black ships, still cold, still silent. Begin stage for preparation. Awaiting main fleet arrival. The mistake is known. Tarek Voss, now under Empire arrest, watched the news from his cell. Of course they blamed him. Captain disobeyed orders. He caused the return, but Tarek only smiled. They don't understand. The Terrans didn't start the war again. The Empire never stopped it. The cliffhanger back in deep space. The Herald stopped. Its lights dimmed. Its weapons powered down. It wasn't damaged. It wasn't retreating. It was waiting. And across the stars. In hidden places, hundreds of beacons blinked in sync. Terran code. A message repeated, again and again, growing stronger. The fleet is coming. The war has only just begun. Hook, a salvage ship called Rustwing, was working in the outskirts of a broken asteroid field. The captain, a quiet man named Jorik, found something strange. A metal pod, drifting slowly. No heat signature. No energy pulse. It looked dead, but when they pulled it in, it began to hum. Then it spoke. In an ancient language no one had heard in 300 years. Terran lifeform detected. Command link active. Open memory core. Colony Phoenix 7. Jorik blinked. Phoenix, that colony was destroyed centuries ago. But the pod wasn't lying. Something forgotten was waking up. The message from the past inside the pod was a child, human, female, around 10 years old. She was in stasis. Alive, perfectly preserved. They scanned her memory chip. It showed her homeworld, a lush green planet once called Phoenix 7, destroyed by the Empire in the First Terran War. She had been placed in escape stasis during the final hours of the attack. But that wasn't the shocking part. The stasis pod, that had a timer, and it had been counting down to now. Terran. Countdown. The AI embedded in the pod spoke calmly. Stasis exit confirmed. Countdown complete. Memory synchronization with Terran network initiated. Lyra, the scientist from the Veil of Order, who had now gone rogue, received the signal. She watched the child's memory logs and saw something terrifying. Dozens of hidden colonies. Names of survivors. Codes of sealed Terran archives. All still active. Earth's children were never gone. They were simply waiting. The Echo network activates across the galaxy. Strange signals began to pulse from ancient ruins. Echo node online colony beacon reacquired signal. Terra not forgotten. Worlds thought erased showed new signs of life. Deep in the abandoned core of colony Veganine, hidden under glass dunes, an old factory came online. Machines powered up. Drones rose into the sky. On Lyra Prime, a temple built by Empire hands cracked open. Underneath, ancient Terran scripture glowing red. You destroyed the surface. You never reached the roots. Empire confusion. Empire command was overwhelmed. Every day, more reports came in. Unexplained energy signatures on old Terran zones. Rebel movements increasing. Civilians chanting Terran phrases. The Emperor ordered total lockdowns. News was censored, but it was too late. The fire had started, and it was spreading faster than anyone could stop it. The Terran symbol returns in one mining city under Empire control. Children found a hidden room inside a ruined building. On the wall was a symbol, a cracked blue earth surrounded by 7 stars. Below it, a message in glowing text. We remember, we survive, we return. The children painted it across their city. The Empire tried to remove it every night. It came back glowing brighter. The people started whispering, the forgotten ones are awake. Rise of the hidden colonies. In just 1 week, 3 old Terran colonies came online. 2 Empire planets saw full-scale riots. A rebel fleet near the Nebula Belt played a human song before battle. We're not the first, but we are the flame. Empire leaders realized something horrible. They had not crushed Earth, they had scattered it, and now all those scattered seeds were growing back stronger, smarter, hidden beneath the soil of their own systems. The AI Council forms back on Europa. Terran AI linked with 4 more AIs across space. Each AI had a piece of Earth's memory. Together, they formed the Council of Echo, a digital command core meant to act when humans could not. They analyzed everything. Estimated Terran survivor nodes, 114 active colonies, 9 hidden war fleets, 2 probability of galactic uprising, 88% main fleet ETA 23 days. Then came a decision. Activate all sleeper protocols. The forgotten must rise. Lyra's discovery. Lyra, now operating inside a rogue research lab, received a private signal. She decoded it. It was a voice message from her grandmother, someone she thought had died on a lost Terran colony long ago. If you're hearing this, it means Earth is moving again. Don't be afraid. You're part of something much older than fear, Lyra cried. For the first time in years, she believed Earth hadn't just survived, it had planned for this. Empire loses control one by one. Empire governors began to defect. Some tried to hide their loyalty to Earth. Others openly broadcast rebel flags. Entire fleets disappeared into training zones and reappeared next to old Terran ruins. The Emperor ordered a full purge. His generals responded with silence. They no longer believed. The cliffhanger ending in the vast emptiness beyond the Empire's eastern border. Something emerged from folded space. It was not a ship. It was a convoy. Thousands of Terran vessels of every size, shape, and class floated silently in formation. All of them were dark, unpowered, waiting doubt. One small ship sent a signal. This is Scout Vessel Orion Black. The Forgotten have returned, we are ready. And far away, inside the Herald, a voice whispered to the stars, Phase 4 complete. Phase 5, send the dreadnoughts. On the edge of the galaxy, in the barren rift zone, astronomers saw it first. A ripple in the void, a star blinked, then another. Within minutes, sensors across 50 systems went blind, and in the silence that followed, the stars themselves seemed to shift. They weren't moving. Something was arriving. Between them, not a ship, not a formation, a fleet, and not just any fleet. Earth's fleet, the one the galaxy thought was destroyed. Centuries ago, but it hadn't been destroyed. It had been waiting. The arrival without noise, without energy spikes, without any warp signature. Thousands of black ships stepped into real space at once. They didn't come from hyperspace. They didn't fold in. They didn't break reality. They glided out of it. Each ship bore Earth's seal, a cracked blue sphere, surrounded by 7 stars and a red ring of fire. Their names were carved in Terran steel: TWS Vengeance, TWS Silent Sky, TWS Horizon Blade, TWS Ghost Fear, and at the center, a ship so large it blocked out starlight. TWS Earthborn, flagship of the Forgotten Fleet. Reactions across the Galaxy Empire commanders froze in place. Fleet Admiral Saron Cole dropped his datapad when the first long-range images came in. That's not a fleet. That's a system of ships. On rebel worlds, cheers rose. On conquered colonies, people wept with hope. Children who never knew Earth suddenly felt like they had a home. On board the Earthborn, side the Earth control chamber, Fleet Commander Mara Thane stood tall. A scar ran across her right eye. Her uniform bore no ranks, only history. Beside her stood General Ray Ferrix, the last surviving veteran of the First Galactic War. They looked at the tactical map. Empire space pulsed red. Rebel systems blinked blue. And Earth's fleet hovered between both like a dark wave. Mara gave the order. Send signal to all Terran sleeper cells. This is not a drill. Earth has returned. The message that froze the Empire within 15 minutes. Every system connected to the galactic net saw it. A simple video. A black screen. Then a Terran woman appeared. .com/steady. Her eyes cold. To the Empire, this is not vengeance, this is correction. We were exiled, you hunted us, we survived, and now we restore balance. No threats, no demands, just the truth. And that scared the Empire more than any weapon. The power of the fleet. The Empire tried to analyze Earth's new ships. They couldn't. Every scanner failed. Every probe sent to get close simply vanished. Even light bent strangely around the ship's. And then, from behind a dead moon, the fleet moved, not toward a military base, not toward a capital, but toward a deep space empire. Factory World-XERA-12. No guards, no civilians, just production. And Earth destroyed it with a whisper, a pulse of sound, low deep. The metal cracked. The planet tore apart from the inside. No radiation, no explosion, just silence. Terran Tech revealed. Lyra, watching from her rebel ship, whispered, their weapons aren't weapons anymore. They control matter. They command reality. The AI beside her confirmed. Soul Command upgraded using collapsed star theory, quantum threads, and dimensional anchors. These ships are not from our space. They carry Earth's final science. Empire tries diplomacy in panic. The Empire sent a message. Earth, what do you want? Earth replied, not revenge, not power. We want what you stole. Our silence, our place, our dead. The message ended with coordinates. They pointed to the site of Earth's oldest destroyed Kaliniris 9, and Terran ships began flying there. But not to fight. To dig up graves. The moment of doubt across the Empire. Soldiers questioned everything. They hadn't just lost a war. They had become the villains in someone else's survival story. One officer wrote in his log, we taught our children that Earth was dangerous, but now I wonder if it was only dangerous because we left it no choice. The whisper from Earth itself. Finally, from the direction of Sol System, a final transmission came. It wasn't a video. It wasn't a warning. It was the voice of Earth itself, a blend of AI and old human language. We are not conquerors. We are not your end. We are your shadow. You made us run. Now we walk beside you, to remind you what fear feels like. And with that, the Terran fleet vanished again. Not into hyperspace. But into the quiet places where justice waits. Cliffhanger ending inside the Empire's secret black site on the gas. Giant Ulka 3, an ancient vault, cracked open. A prisoner froze in stasis for 300 years opened his eyes. Human, old, burned, scarred, Empire. Records called him the last Terran general. And now he was awake. A Terran rebel whispered nearby. They thought he died. They never knew Earth sent him ahead as the first piece. The general stood up and said, just one W hook from one edge of the galaxy to the other. Something strange was happening. Stars were dimming. Energy fields were collapsing. Empire warships were retreating without orders. And on hundreds of worlds once believed secure, Terran symbols were appearing overnight, carved into walls, drawn in blood, printed by ancient machines waking up after 300 years of silence. One word always followed. Phase 7, the final phase, had begun. A choice must be made inside the Empire's grand war room. Panic had turned into something worse. Silence. No one spoke. No one moved. The Emperor stared at the galaxy map. Red, red, red. All the systems under threat were blinking crimson, except for one. Sol system. Still marked as forbidden. Still dark. Still untouched. One advisor finally whispered, if they wanted to destroy us, they already would have. Another added, they're giving us a choice. Earth's final message and new broadcast went out. No encryption, no hidden code. Every channel across the galaxy showed the same message. A man in black armor, face scarred, eyes tired but strong. Fleet General Amon Drex, one of Earth's first commanders, thought dead 280 years ago. He spoke simply. We were forced to leave. We begged. We bled. We hid. But we never stopped watching. Behind him, the Terran fleet hovered, black giants blocking stars. We've seen your peace. We've heard your lies. Now we offer one last signal. He raised his hand. A countdown appeared on the screen. 0 hours, 11 minutes and 59 seconds. Choose. Stand down. Or stand in our way. The last Terran general moves on the frozen moon of Ulka 3. The awakened general, once codenamed Ashburn, stepped onto Empire soil. He wore no armor, carried no weapon. And yet, every Empire soldier guarding the black site dropped their rifles. One whispered, it's really him. Ashburn said nothing. He simply placed his hand on a stone, and the ground split open from beneath the moon. A buried Terran dreadnought rose. Its name, TWS Justice, last of the Earth Guardline Empire, divides as the countdown ticked. Empire systems began to split. Some surrendered instantly. Governors broadcast peace. Soldiers painted over Empire logos. Whole fleets switched sides and activated old Terran beacons. Others resisted. On Dravos 9, an Empire cruiser launched a surprise attack on a Terran beacon station. It was destroyed in 0.7 seconds. Its last recorded data. We never even saw them. Terran weapons final activation in orbit around Cradius. An ancient Terran AI codenamed Halablek awakened. Its voice boomed across the planet. Target lock complete. Gravity shift in progress. Empire satellites fell from the sky. Their magnetic fields reversed, and in a flash of light, the Empire's strongest fortress turned to dust. No heat, no sound, just dust. The civilian uprising on over 70 Empire-held colonies. Civilians rose up, not with weapons but with unity. They painted Earth's cracked blue sphere across buildings, refused to work, refused to fight. On Terra 5, children stood in the streets holding old Terran flags. When Empire tanks rolled in to scare them, Terran drones dropped from orbit, formed a dome around the kids, and stared silently at the tanks. The tanks turned back. Not a single shot was fired. Terran fleet reveals its true size for weeks. Everyone believed the fleet had already arrived. They were wrong. That was only wave 1. As the countdown hit 0 hours, 1 minute, and 0 seconds, something appeared in the far void, a ring-shaped object, the size of a small star system. Inside it, hundreds of thousands of Terran warships, that the real fleet, built in exile, perfected in silence. Commander Marathane spoke one final line. This is Earth's breath. You only saw the whisper. Now feel the storm. The Emperor's decision. As the countdown reached 0 hours, 0 minutes and 30 seconds. The Emperor stood. His voice echoed through the hall of command. I will not bow to ghosts. I will not surrender to myths. But none of his generals moved, not one. They no longer followed him because they knew the truth. Earth was not myth. Earth was justice wearing armor. 0 hours, 0 minutes and 1 second. Earth's final move. Last second ticked. The stars dimmed, dotted across the galaxy. All Terran ships, every drone, dreadnought, stealth carrier, and orbital weapon stopped. A single word appeared on every Empire system, glowing red. An old Terran code. Reset. And then, they powered down. The endgame twist. Empire ships scanned in panic. Were the Terrans gone? Were they bluffing? That's when the final message came. We do not destroy what we can rebuild. The galaxy does not need a conqueror. It needs a reminder. And with that, Earth's fleet left. Gone from sensors, gone from sight, but not gone from memory. Final scene. Earth speaks again. Back in the Sol system, inside a black vault on Earth's moon. A human girl looked up from her tablet. She was maybe 12 years old. A man beside her, an old soldier in a long coat, smiled. Is it done? She asked. He nodded. They remember us now. She looked back at her screen where stars blinked quietly. Good. Then maybe we can finally go home. The war was over. Earth's fleet had vanished. Empire systems began rebuilding, some with hope, some with fear, but deep beneath the silence, something was still moving. Terran systems still ran in hidden layers. Old satellites still whispered. 2 buried drones. And far beyond known space, inside the black folds of the universe, a backup fleet stirred. Because Earth had not returned for revenge. It had returned to watch. The unknown system, Darklight Expanse, in a system without a name. Near the edge of time distortion fields, a Terran research station flickered online. Its purpose wasn't war, it was memory. Dozens of Terran AI minds gathered there, feeding on data from across the galaxy. rebel broadcasts, empire movements, civilian whispers, and one AI, older than most, known only as Ikanin, said, "We are no longer the threat, but the galaxy is not safe yet." The empire's quiet collapsed, though the empire survived. It wasn't the same. Over 100 governors resigned. Entire fleets refused to return to service. The emperor's final speech went unheard because no one was listening anymore. On the once proud empire capital world of Keter, a child painted Earth's cracked blue seal on the wall of a school. No one erased it. Lyra's final mission. Lyra had spent her whole life chasing the truth about Earth. Now that it had returned and left, she was given a final mission. The message was short: you know how to listen. Now teach others. She was sent to the outer colonies, where Earth's name was still banned. Her job: to plant truth, one colony at a time. A secret ship awaits in a dead world called Torella 7. A hidden hangar opened. Inside, a ship with no name. Sleek, silent, made from living alloy. This wasn't a warship, that it was something more dangerous. A watcher created by Earth to follow rising threats before they became wars. One AI activated inside it. Designation: Omen. Assignment: prevent the next extinction. And it launched without sound into the void. The galaxy. Response: civilizations that once ignored Earth's fall began opening old records. Some offered peace. Others sent gifts: ancient human relics they'd taken long ago. One planet named Bob, who moved every empire statue and raised a monument with one line: "Here lies the fear that kept us quiet." Earth reminded us how to speak again. Back on Earthside, the Sol system, Earth was still quiet. Its skies remained dark, its cities empty, but they weren't abandoned. Underground, under ice, beneath oceans, humans were still there, watching, thinking, building, waiting not to strike but to guide if needed. The Terran High Council met in silence. One question hung in the room: they fear us. Should we leave them in fear? And the answer was, no. We leave them in memory. The AI whisper network scattered across the galaxy. Earth's AI presence didn't vanish, it spread quietly, subtly. They did not lead governments or armies. They became advisors to rebel commanders, teachers to frontier colonies, guardians of forgotten places. No one ever saw them clearly, but when trouble came, a black symbol would appear on a wall, screen, or stone, monitored by Sol. That was enough. One final threat deep in the cold void. Beyond known space, something ancient began to move. Not empire, not human. Older, hungrier. An intelligence long thought extinct. As it moved toward inhabited space, it found a probe, a simple black box, Terran in design. It scanned the probe and read the message: "We see you. You are not welcome. Choose silence, or be reminded why we endured." The ancient force paused and turned away. Closing scene. The child in the sky on a peaceful moon. A child looked up at the stars. His father stood beside him and pointed to one of the brighter stars. "What's that one?" The child squinted. "It's not on the map." The father smiled. "That's Earth's fleet. They don't need maps. They just watch." The child was quiet, then whispered, "Are they coming back?" The father replied, "Only if we forget what they taught us." The galaxy had changed. The empire was quiet. The rebels were rising. The colonies were healing. But deep in Sol system, Earth remained untouched, dark, cold, silent. Yet every major species in the galaxy feared one simple truth: Earth has not spoken its final word, because even after all the fleets, all the warnings, all the power, Earth had never moved. Sol system, a forbidden zone. No ship dared enter. No drone returned. Empire maps still marked it red. Rebel scouts flew around it but never through. But inside Sol, the old world lived on above Earth's blue skies. Orbital rings hummed softly. No weapons drawn, just ready. Mars was covered in quiet black domes. Venus had floating cities with terra ice studding solar winds. Even Pluto held something strange, an object shaped like a key, waiting for the stars to align. Earth wasn't asleep, it was thinking. Of Council of the Broken, some of the galaxy's most powerful leaders gathered, not at a palace but at a neutral station between systems. They were Corrodin of the Remnant Empire, Maya Solus of the Outer Ring colonies, Drawback of the Forge Syndicate, and a Terran representative known only as Echo. Echo wore no face, no rank, just a black cloak and the old Terran symbol. They asked Echo the question all beings feared to ask: will Earth rule now? Echo simply replied, "Earth doesn't want your thrones. Earth wants your memory." Terran doctrine unveiled for centuries. Earth was believed to be extinct, broken, or hiding. But now the truth was spreading. Earth hadn't disappeared, it had evolved. Earth's new doctrine was simple: never strike first, never forget injustice, never allow the past to repeat. They didn't conquer planets, they inspired resistance. They didn't destroy enemies, they shattered fear. They didn't claim power, they taught others to protect their own. Humanity's new role across the galaxy. Humans were now seen not just as survivors but as warning lights. In colonies under threat, Terran relief ships appeared. In war zones, stealth drones dropped medicine, not bombs. In corrupt empires, Terran AI hacked propaganda streams and replaced them with raw truth. Some feared them, others worshipped them, but no one ignored them. Inside the core of the final room back on Earth, Deep below the Arctic crust, a vault opened for the first time in 1,000 years. Inside sat a council of human minds, not living but not dead, mind echoes stored from humanity's golden age, generals, poets, scientists, children. They didn't rule, they advised the next generation. A young girl entered the chamber, barely 16, uniform simple, eyes focused. She had just passed the soul trials. The vault called her by name, Commander Ellen Voss, and gave her one question. What is Earth's next step? She answered, we wait. A strange signal suddenly across every Terran ship beacon, AI, and listening poster signal appeared, not from the Empire, not from rebels, from beyond the galactic edge. A repeating pulse, unfamiliar, wild, alien, not like anything in known records. One Terran officer muttered, it's not a language, it's a countdown. The forgotten truth in ancient Terran files, long sealed, were unlocked. The files spoke of something older than Earth, older than the Empire, race of beings that once ruled this part of space then vanished. Terran scientists called them the Architects. Earth didn't fear them because Earth had always suspected. They might come back, and if they did, someone would have to be ready. The fleet activates again in orbit around Neptune. A signal was sent, black hangars opened, dreadnoughts powered up, orbital shields charged, but not for war. For observation. Commander Ellen stood on the bridge of TWS Earthborn, staring into the void. She didn't order fire. She didn't move the fleet. She whispered only 2 words, watch everything. Final scene, a message in the stars back on the Neutral Council station. The galaxy's leaders gathered again, but this time the Terran chair was empty. No one knew where Earth's representative had gone until the station's windows dimmed, and a message appeared across the stars. Stars realigned, planets glowed faintly, and in the sky, for all to see, one phrase burned in light, we are still here.